I sit here and project an angelic light. And regardless if you believe it or not, it's not up to you to decipher whether or not this energy reaches into the frequency field of all that you're not. As all that you are within any moment in time is a light so bright that you shall never believe your eyes, your ears, your feet, your feelings. When you come into this realization at the end of an ascension period, and as we descend into the darkness to feel into too deeply all that you are not, all that we have never ever been to begin with in perception field, you will come into just that, the greatest and grandest realization of your soul's choosing, but not before you face the greatest and grandest depths within a darkness of your soul's belonging. As your soul descended down into this frequency field to feel, to live, to breathe, to believe in all that you have never ever been. In perception field, but not in reality field. And I can explain this within the 10 minutes that I have in this video. 10 minutes is never ever enough for me to go into any depth within any topic, but I'll try. Once upon a time within the expansion process of our quantum verse, Source had fractaled out an infinality, a finality of what and who it was, down into the descension of this frequency that we've shifted out of and into within any moment in time, within the three-dimensional frequency that Gaia, our beloved Earth, sits through and sits in. Sits a soul so grand that once upon a time fractaled from the source frequency in deception fields, in essence of all that it had never ever been. It wanted to descend down into this field as you, as I, as all of the light workers within this field, as the everyday normal people within the normal scope of things, as the darkness within and without this quantum verse, within the darkened scape of things. And as we head on in disbelief, in belief, in love, in wars, in tranquility, in overarching lost tranquility, as we, within this overarching scape and scope of things, swam through the deepest, darkest frequencies that had never ever belonged to us in projection field to begin with, to be faced with the darkest darkness that our field had succumbed to once upon a time of no time, of no disregard of wellness within a field of brightness that there has ever been, that we shall ever shift in and out of within any reality field. And as you may be in disheartening disbelief at the energy that I project, as this energy might be a bit confusing, as this messaging might be a bit contradictory in this moment in time, you will come into a realization as we ascend into the five-dimensional frequency, as we head towards the five-dimensional energies of what is, as the greatest and grandest energetic frequency within your scope, within your scape, within your reach is incoming into your fields over the Palestinian and Israeli lands, where Yeshua had anchored down this light so bright, this funneling light, all the way from the angelic realm, a little over 2,000 years ago, has begun to grow exponentially within the earthscape time of 2 days ago. 2 days ago, this light that had been anchored in a little over 2,000 years ago began to grow, began to interlink its olive branch out of the perception of the darkness and into the feeding of the brightness within your auric field. And if you are geographically located above and beyond the Palestinian Israeli lands, chances are you are a light worker. Reality can never dictate what you can see, feel, and believe in the distortion process of the dropping down into this reality field where you sit. The tranquility that you've lost over the past 2.5 years is monumental in the way that you begin to awaken into your frequency field within the next few months in Earth's time. And yet the peace that you found within the ceasefires, within these couple of days that we've halted this bloodshed. Halted. And I say the word halted in actuality of the belief that peace is here to stay. In actuality of the disbelief that peace had never been here to begin with. In an ounce, in an eon, in a fractal of a second, of a millisecond, within the creation of Gaia, within the creation of Earth, we had never been created to be able to experience true tranquility. And as that energy of forever arching forgiveness comes into our perception field, as we begin to awaken as light workers one by one over the Palestinian and Israeli lands at that, you will begin to face the greatest and grandest dark and distortion fields within your awakening process of what is, and to begin to descend down into the darkness of hope lost within a moment of hope found within the overarching scope of this ceasefire news. And as a whole entire population, as a whole entire generation, as a whole entire humanity scape begins to take that very well-deserved last breath of fear into the fearfulness and forget-me-nots within a society field of fearlessness lost within any moment in time. And this play on words is on purpose to make you come into a realization that we had never faced an ounce and inkling of what the word peace means within the English language since the inception of Gaia. And as you come into the realization of the peace that you've just found in your lands, of the freedom that your children could potentially step into within any moment in time, facing you down the timeline that you walk down, enjoy that moment, as that moment is soon to end. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad energy, of bad news, as all that was created within the creation scope of things was created and crafted for a good reason. And the reason that you ask me in this moment in time of disbelief, as I project this energy of the calm before the storm that you must walk into as you awaken into your ultimate destiny as light workers. As your mission scope had never been an easy one at that, and as you descended to drop down over the Palestinian lands, of the land that Yeshua had once upon a time descended down into to anchor down this funnel of angelic light, you will begin to awaken into this frequency. And as you do so, come into a realization of the overarching knots that have been built into your distortional field throughout this awakening process, for you to step into, for you to hold, for you to begrudgingly become. And the disheartening news of the calm before the storm, as trust had never been an issue of non-trust within this distortional field of forever archingly trust lost, I'm here to tell you that the peace that you've found, that you've breathed into this air for a moment in time, was never designed to last for an overarchingly long scope of time, for a time that you're able to halt, stop, breathe, think, reject, project, rebuild, heal, for any of that. And the darkness that is incoming has a plan. The darkness that has been in control of your reality field, of our reality field, has an overarching plan that has not been laid out for us to walk, for us to see, for us to become. But within the next 2 months in Earth time, you will begin to see a light so dimmed within your reality field come into a fruition of becoming the brightest light that you have ever been able to trudge through. And within the messaging scope of all of the messages that I've been able to project, this message that I project in this very moment in time holds no limitations as to what this light can do within your reality field when the peace gets ripped out from underneath your feet. So hold on to that hope in your soul, that faith in your belonging, in your being, that all of this was made for a reason, that you descended down into this frequency to awaken within the greatest darkness that you shall ever be able to face as a humanity field, and that all of the light workers that are here in it together, for you, with you, belonging to you, above you, beyond you, underneath you. And you may feel alone in this very moment in time, but as you awaken into your destiny, just know that we are all here as a singularity.